Now today we're going to review the Gloss-Only clay bar mitt. This is a mitt that replaces the balls of clay bar that you would normally use on a car. It's a mitt that you put on around your hand like an oven mitt, and their accessory Mckee'S product that is made to work with this. It's a ceramic product, and I tested it on all the products including glass, aluminum, but mainly paint, and tried to find some way that I could use it on my collection of motorcycles. And at the end of the day, I had found several good uses for it. It looks like it's a product that I'll be using more and more of in the future. And one thing I found it to be exceptional on is putting a gloss protective layer on a windscreen, on a plexiglass motorcycle windscreen during the bug season or during the salt season. Now today on this video, we're going to do a product review of this product, and it's called Gloss-Only. I'm going to put all this information up on the screen. And what this is a clay bar mitt. It's used for detailing cars. It was donated along with the accessory that goes with it. It was donated by John Pothier, and thank you very much. He of course restored his own 62 Corvette to show quality, and in the course of doing it he's come up with a lot of little tips and tricks. We're going to see if this is going to be usable since I don't have a Corvette. If I can use it somewhere on the motorcycle. And I'd like to try it on various paints that I have, some very old, some very new. And we'll see if this might be useful for detailing motorcycles. We're going to find out soon. Okay, this is the way this comes in a sealed package, and it's like an oven mitt, and it's got the clay built right into the mitt. You can see the texture on this, and the other side of course looks like a microfiber, but this is the side that I assume that's going to do the work. Anyway, if you're not familiar with clay barring, I'll put in the video later on what I've learned about it, and this is the product that's made to work with it. Clay seal. It's a ceramic, and again, I don't know if this is appropriate for our use, but I know for custom car shows, that's the stuff they've been using lately, but I've never used it, so this is a win-win. I get to experiment. I'll pass on what I learn. Now, being honest, in the past I've even put it on video. I've had the clay that you buy normally in AutoZone type of a place. You roll it up into a ball and you rub the surface, and it does clean. It microscopically cleans and decontaminates. This would be appropriate, say, for a car show, just before you went to a car show or whatever. But when you do clay in the normal way, what happens is it's a naked surface, and you have to re-wax it with Carnauba wax. Well, I don't know if this is, until I try this, I'm going to find out. This is the ceramic that you're going to use with this product. So by experimenting with it today on various surfaces, I'm going to find out. And they say it's good for chrome and for everything. So glass even. In fact, on the back, did it say glass? I'm not sure. Yep, it's good for everything. So we're going to find out. And the whole thing with any of these products is that if you see they're appropriate for certain things, but I don't know if grandma's car, you'd want to do grandma's car with this. I don't know, but sure, if you have a really nicely finished motorcycle, which most of my friends do, this might be a helpful tool. We're going to find out. So normally, common sense would tell you, the first thing would be, if this is a car, you want to wash the car. If it's a motorcycle, you want to at least get any residue, any contaminants off. That would be step one. The reason is, if you take clay, either whether it's clay in a ball or a clay mitt, and you've got dirt in it, all you're going to do is scratch the surface and make it worse. So that's number one of a problem. So in this case, this is about 10-year-old paint. I've had this on a motorcycle for 4 or 5 years. It's got a lot of little imperfections, a lot of little things in it. I don't think this is made to buff out paint. There's plenty of other products for that. It's made to decontaminate this before you actually put a final shine on it, as if maybe you were going to a car show, or you just want to have a shiny car or a motorcycle. So I want to take this, and I guess the only way I'm going to do this is by, it says shake it well. Let's make sure we got the thing open. Okay, shake it well, we will. Now, I've never used, truth in advertising, I've never used any ceramic products, so I don't really know if this is appropriate or not. But thank you, John, for thinking of me, and he knows that I really do enjoy having clean stuff. Clean stuff is a good way of doing it. Now it says use a generous amount, so I assume the first time you put this on. Now, if you've ever clay barred anything, you know once you drop the clay in the dirt, you throw it away. So I want to make sure this is perfectly clean. I put a brand new towel out here, and the idea of if you've ever clay barred anything dry, you know that you got to be Superman. Yeah, this seems to go on. Now this is again a 10-year-old paint test, and we'll see. We got plenty of things outside. We even have a 40-year-old motorcycle we could test this on. And this would be, I think, the normal process you would use for, well, I guess we'll find out. One way or another, we're going to find out. And it says use plenty of the product, shake it well. And it's supposed to be, it says a ceramic. Now, I'm going to just keep buffing it until I feel that wax is kind of like when you remove carnauba wax. You want to remove it all. You don't want to just leave it on. And now that the liquid is kind of drying off, I can feel it's getting a little harder to push this. Again, you don't know what the product is good for until I try it. It's just like when I did the Flitz product review. I didn't know it was going to be good on certain things, and some things it was absolutely beautiful on. It's part of my toolkit right now, but this might go on. Now, here's the thing. I feel everything drying up. Now it's getting harder and harder to move the clay mitt around. Okay. So now I assume, and again, there's no directions at all in the mitt. You got to kind of figure it out yourself, or you got to watch this video. And we'll post this up so maybe somebody else can benefit by it. Now, normally what I would do at this point, brand new Kirkland microfiber. We always have these around. And at the very end. Now, I don't know until I try this if we have left a, like what I'll call a carnauba wax finish on this, if it's going to bead water. But certainly you can feel, you absolutely can feel how slippery that is. That is really slippery. So now the other thing would be is when we get to the bug season, I'll do the windshield and see if the bugs come off easier. But you never know until you do a little experiment. But right now, number one, the gloss is really super, super good. That's as good as it gets, no matter what product you use. That is really good. It was easy to do on this part. And so I would think if you have a 10-year-old part or a windshield, that's got to be good for a windshield. Right there. That just makes me think right off the bat. Good for paint, even better for windshields. What really jumped right out at me is the feel. It feels like there's oil on there or something, but I guess that's the ceramic part of this that's working. So the next part of this test, I want to try it on what amounts to be 40-year-old factory paint. Let's see how this plays out. And we have paint from almost every 10-year period here, so 40-year-old paint. And that clay bar with the liquid, boy, I have clay barred this bike in the past, and it was really labor intensive because it's dry. What makes this a lot easier to do is this liquid, this ceramic liquid. Now, I don't know until I talk to some other people that have more experience than I do with ceramic waxes. I don't have a lot, so I don't pretend I do. And some people have told me that ceramic waxes, there's some negative sides to it. I don't know that's true, but I guess I'll find out on this motorcycle. Here we are, it's starting to dry out. I can feel it getting harder and harder to rub it. And at the very end, of course, you're at a dry clay bar. That's right there, it's dry. And I can imagine doing a hood of a car, how much easier this is than holding that little golf ball sized clay bar. Again, a thing to keep in mind is this is made to be on a part that's already either polished or buffed out. It's not made to go on a part that's like sandpaper. Of course, this is not that kind of a product, I don't think. I guess we're going to find out. Anyway, let's see what that result looks like. Again, only you can be the judge of the reflection, but I'm looking at the reflection here and I can see the wall and see my hand and everything. And always the test for anything is if you see the reflection, of your finger. Yeah, I would say that's just fine to use on 40-year-old paint. Now this is a bike I've owned since new. I've owned it 40 years. I've tried to maintain it and keep it as nice as I can. And this product will add to my ability to do that, hopefully in a lot of little ways. Now it says you can use it on glass. I know it can use it on a windshield, so I want to make sure before I put it on a car window or something. Now, the same thing is, this is a relatively clean piece of glass. Let's pretend this was the windshield of a car, and I don't know. You know, I'll do one window in my car and see if how it plays out. But I'm always skeptical when you see somebody doing a professional commercial for a product, and even though some of the products are really good, and like this stuff I used to seal a leak in my basement, that stuff worked perfectly. So, but some products, it's a little deceptive the way they advertise them, so I don't know. But now, this is going to allow me to do something that I really want to try. This mitt, by the way, is very comfortable to use, and you can feel the product disappearing, and this gets harder and harder, well, to push around, because the clay is absorbing the contaminants, and even a piece of glass has contamination. Okay, now this is brand new Kirkland microfibers, and I've had really good luck with Kirkland microfibers, by the way. They are good. You can get them from Amazon, and this is going to be a really good test here. Now, the part of this test I want to see. Oh my God, you can feel. You absolutely can feel. I want to do this. You absolutely can feel that this side is slipperier than the side that I didn't do. So again, for sure you can use it on glass. Now this is paint that basically is 2 years old, and I can feel. I guess I want to see if you could put it on the MITT even. Again, I'm going to be experimenting with this because I got plenty of the product. And what'll really be the test is in the winter when we're riding where there's salt on the road. And if I can see the difference, boy, that would make it worthwhile. Even if it's just easier to clean the bike up, that's a big plus. Because we do try to ride right through the winter. Let's just see if. Well, you can't say anything about the shine. It leaves a shine that's just amazing. And again, I think the ultimate thing here, though, would be, if you knew you were going to do a lot of riding in the rain, is once a year, twice a year, clay bar the bike, and then put on a good coat of Colonite or Mckee'S, the Carnauba wax. Well, it worked really super on, basically this is 2-year-old factory paint, and I haven't found anything it doesn't work on, and that's the whole purpose of doing this test. Now it says you can use this on aluminum. This is a spare muffler I have for the 750 that I've used, and it's a little too loud, but it's still a serviceable muffler, and it's got a lot of scratches in it. I'm not concerned. We're not buffing out scratches. We'd use aluminum polish if we were doing that. But I want to see if this is two things that I'm going to be able to try, and not today, but I will be able to try in the near future. And one is if I put a coat of wax on one of the mufflers that's polished, this ceramic wax, when it heats up, what I'll be able to do is at the end of the day, see if it still has wax on it. I can just spray some water on. If it beads up, it means the wax didn't go away. That's the really simple 101 way to test. But as the product dries, you can feel it getting harder and harder. Now, I don't know, again, if this is really the use that they intended it for. But the only way we're going to know, they say on the jar, I'm using the jar, the bottle, to find out what they say is appropriate uses. And then we want to try to find some in the future that we can use for our own benefit. I can picture right now, one use would be on the front of the fork legs, where it generally takes a lot of abuse, especially in the winter with the salt. That clay bar would take a lot of it right off. Now that looks like, and again, it's the, wow, the feel is Very different. It's very smooth and shiny, but the gloss is really nice on that. The gloss, and there's still scratches. This product is not going to take scratches out. A clay bar is not meant to take scratches out. So we have Flitz would be a good choice if you were looking to do that, polish aluminum. And I've already got a Flitz video out there. Just put my name in quotation marks and the word Flitz. It'll come up. And that looks like you can use it. But now the thing is, I've heard from some people that ceramic stuff has some downsides. I don't know what they are because I haven't heard it in detail. And I haven't heard it from people that weren't selling this stuff. So that's why I like to test stuff myself. And I don't sell anything. So if I say something, it's because it worked or it didn't work for me. And I like to just pass that information on. So up to this point in the test, seems like it leaves that ceramic smooth, whatever it is, whether it's a wax or a ceramic, and obviously it's proprietary, it leaves a smooth surface on everything that I've polished, and the aluminum and the paint. So this is a spare set of FCR fork legs. When I restored the bike, I replaced the forks, and these are the old ones. They're all chewed up. They got a lot of dents and scratches in them, but they're good for testing. Let's see if this is, now the advantage of this, if I had a clay bar, it'd be really hard to get in there, into the corners and angles and edges. This seems like it makes it a lot easier. And again, I won't know until I'm all done with this, and we're going to go out to the garage and test it on the motorcycles in the collection and see what, if anything, we can learn from this. And I'm not sure exactly right now. I'm not sure exactly. This is not buffing out like you would take polish and you could say, oh, well, it's a lot shinier here than here. That's not the purpose. The purpose of this is to clean off the contamination and then leave a layer of protection. And I'm not sure if I have to put carnauba wax back on top of this or not, but there's a very quick way I can tell. We'll find out. But if nothing else, this is real comfortable to use. And I've heard now, people, I don't go to custom car shows or anything, so I don't know. I've heard that these new ceramic waxes are pretty unbelievable, and some of them are really pricey too, so you have to think somebody's going to be wanting to pay that money. They got to be pretty good or they wouldn't sell it. Anyway, we'll take a look at this. Oh my God, and the feel. Now, this is an anodized leg. I'm not sure it does anything to anodizing. Let's find out. Why am I'm trying to take a shortcut here. Anodized stuff, usually not a big deal. The anodizing is pretty durable. Well, let's just see. So far while doing this, I haven't found any reason not to do this, anything that would be really labor intensive or whatever. Now, I have to be honest, this from here to here where I did is shinier than the part I didn't do. I'll show that up close. That did add some gloss, and boy, you can feel where that product ends. It's like rubbing your hand on a piece of glass and then 2,000 grit paper. So I know if nothing else, this is leaving something behind, some kind of ceramic protection. I'm not sure what, but yeah, you definitely could feel that. So the whole purpose of the video seems to be that this product does decontaminate a lot, and it leaves behind some kind of a slippery, glossy surface. So now what I wanted to do, I got ordinary water, and I want to see if that's going to bead up. And let me take a look at this. That would tell you, give you some idea of what it's left behind in terms of protection. I'm not sure it's the same as when you do carnauba wax. I'm not sure. But it's funny that you can feel how slippery that is. But anyway, there's a real good way to tell. And this is what I always say, just do the test yourself. And I'll go get some Colonite wax and give this a coat of wax, and we'll see if there's any difference. And let's see if we can learn something. I always like to I always like to do the stuff myself. I don't like to depend on basically on people that are selling things. Now this is a wax Colonite, insulator wax 845. This was donated by Joe Padula, and I have done all the bikes with this several times. It goes a long way. It's easy to use and get off. It's very, very high-end wax. It really works good. So what I'm going to do is wax half of this part and see the unwaxed part and the waxed part, what the difference is. Now to mention something, usually when you clay bar a car would be then wax-free. There would be no protection on it. So you would be forced to put some carnauba wax or something like Colonite on it. This is exceptionally easy to get on and off. That's what makes this I think a premium product. And of course Mckee'S and all of the people that make the high-end waxes, they're all good. And I've used a lot of them. Dale has donated some compounds and some different things that have worked out great. Glenn had a bunch that we tried in the shop. We reviewed them. Basically they all work good. But again, a lot of it is just personal choice. Now what's nice about this, you put this on, give it a minute, wipe it off, and I'm just overdoing it here. You really don't have to go back and forth 8,000 times. And it's really important, we'll let that dry, is to get it with a nice clean microfiber, not something that's going to scratch it up or something that's been dropped in the dirt. Okay, it takes about a minute for that to haze up, and you can see that's how long it takes to wipe it off. It's unlike when the old days of Simonizing a car where you had to be Charles Atlas to get the product off. Yeah, we're pretty much done, and it's real important to have a clean, dry microfiber. Now, I know that part, and if I look at it, the shine is very similar, but I want to see if the protection, and again, I won't know until I do this, until I go back and forth, and this is always the way. Let me get the water here. Let me do it in real time so there's no hokey pokey here. Now it does look like the unwaxed part and the waxed part are both beating up in a very similar manner. I'm not sure I know what the answer to that is, but they both have a nice finish, and they both look like they have some protection. But I'm guessing in the best of all worlds, you could just put the Colonite over it anyway. It wouldn't even matter. It's just going to add more protection. Now in the winter when there's salt on the roads, I keep plenty of Colonite wax, especially on the windshields, the parts that are exposed, the front parts of the forks, and of course the wheels. Now what I suspect this would really be good for is doing up the wheels. It's easy to get that MITT in there, a lot easier to get into nooks and crannies. But this will be an interesting thing. Now we got one side that's just with the clay bar and the ceramic wax, and the other side with the Colonite. Be interesting to see now if what I could do is take this outside. Well, I can't do it today, and go for a ride on a rainy day and see which side was beating up better, because you don't know how long it's going to last, or is it going to last forever? Maybe it lasts for 6 months, I don't know. Now I went through all the bikes one by one, doing a little spot on a tank or on a fairing or on a windscreen, and the result is the same. The new paint, old paint, 40-year-old paint, doesn't seem to matter. It seems like it puts a nice shine on, and the protection part of it, we need to get out in some rainy weather to find out. But I still think the ultimate thing, if you're really looking for the ultimate, would be to use this product that's going to totally clean the paint and then get a good coat of Colonite on it, and that should get you through the winter. And we'll find out how it works on a muffler as soon as I ride this bike. I'll put a coat on there, and we'll see if it still has the product on it, if it still beads water when we get back from a ride. That'll be the test. And windscreens, I would guarantee that's going to work great on a windscreen. That is almost a given. And next time I detail this bike out, I will definitely try it on all of the engine parts, the exhaust, see how it's going to work on something that gets hot. That I don't know about, and maybe it isn't made for that. But that's more that we can learn in the future. But for now, I think I've learned enough for today. Oh, I hope there was some usable information on this, something you can use to your own benefit one way or the other. And this is definitely a product that we're glad we added to our arsenal. And John, thank you very much for thinking about us. And I may even use this detailing mitt about once a year. I get the bug to take my 13-year-old Sienna Toyota minivan and buff it out with a buffer or something. I'm going to try this next time I do it. I'll put some of that on a future video. And thanks so much for watching. So I count this time today as well spent, because anytime I can add a new product that works and I can share that information, it's a win-win. And when it works on more than one surface, it's a double win. Now in my case, because I'm constantly trying to keep the bikes as new as possible, even the 40-year-old ones and the ones that are only a few years old, I want them all to look brand new, or in my case, I want them to look better than brand new. Now, for people that are new to the channel, we try to post something up pretty much every day. Some days we have family stuff to do, and we do miss a day now and then. But basically, it's an everyday channel, and it's to share information that's usable and useful for people that have a passion for motorcycles, and especially people that have a passion for older motorcycles, where you're constantly working on them and trying to upgrade them and keep them as functional and as attractive as possible. And we always seem to have some new products to test. In the winter, we're going to do a lot of painting, which we do every year. We make evil twins out of some of the bikes, and we always like to share that information every day. So if you enjoyed the video, I hope you share it with your friends. And of course, I hope most of all that we'll see you tomorrow. And thanks again for watching.